Hi guys, happy Friday, and I can tell you that it has been kind of an exhausting week for me. Cannot really judge why, don't really know why to be honest, but probably because I'm getting older. I have to respect that as well. Trading wise, it was an okay or really actually an okay week. Result wise, it was also okay. Let's talk a little bit about the market. In general, crude oil is lifting higher as kind of expected. It's not that the dynamics basically softened a little bit, okay? And that's also kind of expected that the market calms down. But I mean, this major breakout, what we saw here from that zone, from this $80 zone, will lift the prices normally higher. What was first? I don't know. This breakout or the geopolitical crisis, I don't know. But I am expecting that okay, crude oil looks horrible. That we will go higher than the $120. Okay, that's really what I expect. Um, I really don't think that the US and Israel will be able to pull off going back from the war. I think that things will escalate further and we will see higher prices. I think that we will see in Europe $3 per liter gasoline and diesel, and the US also raising prices. And I think that the US completely misjudged probably the situation in Iran. Let's have a look at gold. Gold is kind of doing what I'm hoping for. Came back yesterday. Feels already kind of a little bit of worth buying, starting to buy, but very, very little. If the market pulls back a little bit further, I will be interested to do that, to get involved again. It's a little bit too pricey for me today. Maybe I will buy a very small position. I'm not sure, but I think this is already attractive on gold. Let's talk about the equity markets, okay? And that's really what is the more important thing to talk about. So we had the structure wise, we had support, 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 and then things changed. And there is basically just two things here to consider. There's support, and then there is resistance. And support becomes resistance. And in that case, we saw that the support became resistance, and this basically leads to a decline in prices. Okay, and that's kind of where we stand right now. That's also what I kind of indicated here, that we will go lower. Okay, and right now we kind of oscillate around the day yesterday's lows. Um, there was more dynamic than yesterday than I expected to the downside. We even took out the low here, so it shows that there is some momentum starting to build up. We are not there yet. I can think though that the next couple of days momentum will pick up, and then I believe that's at least my take on that. My take on that is that we probably will go even lower. Okay, so that's how I see it. Having a plan and executing the plan are two different things. Okay, so maybe you want to play it with options. Maybe you want to do a CFD if you if in Europe we are swing micro future position. Again, you have to have one thing in mind. There's huge volatility right now on a daily basis. So 1,000 points or something is really something to consider if you trade the daily chart on the losses. At, at least, let's say when you start to plan the trade, and when you would go very low on the stops, 250 points on an hourly chart is very, very low and probably way too low. Okay, so when we have a look at the ATR, average true range, we are right now at the 100 point loss, 100 point per ATR, and realistically we need to have a 3 ATR with the volatility, so 300 points minimum, and this is probably too small in my opinion. Okay, because when we look at the average, this kind of is the average 110 120 points, so 350 points. I personally believe this would be really the minimum what we should choose. at least in my book. Okay, I mean, do your own research, do your own trading decisions, but that's how I see it, and this is how I would execute it as well. Um, Again, I think that we are still in the early stages. We see that right now that the downtrend basically manifested itself a little bit more. Um, so I think the all-time highs are off the table. I mean, that's something we can see and talk right now. I mean, we are now 30% down, and we haven't started to get momentum into the downside. Okay. Um, the Dow was more stable yesterday during the day. The Dow also was more easy to read, and I think that we tracked it quite well. So with this break of this kind of support zone, again, kind of same principle: support, 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 and here we had kind of the similar support, and support becomes demand, becomes resistance, and then here this downtrend started. Okay, sorry for this bad painting, but that's kind of what it is. So we had this shoulder head shoulder formation with this our friend here on top of the head, and the downtrend started here, and it's a clear downtrend, and we broke this next structure here. We can see this retest right now. As I indicated, I could imagine that we could potentially go up there, but right now doesn't feel like that. Okay, global tension start to build up, and definitely target here is this one, and then we probably will go lower. Um, I have indicated that I think that here this could be a solid target zone. This 40,000 would indicate about a 20% correction, and I think that's very reasonable and not overextended at all, right? Because if global trade, global oil um, supply changes and becomes worse, I mean, there is 20% is nothing, okay, and it can escalate quickly. You might now ask, hey, you talk about momentum that it doesn't build up right now. Markets look for a catalyst, and it's hard to predict what the catalyst will be. I would like to give you one example here. When COVID happened, the markets in the beginning didn't really act. There was a lot of, I would say, panic already in Italy, for example. Also probably um, media-driven, anxiety. But in the end, the markets didn't really act. And then a few days later, then there was one catalyst happening, and then this is the elephant wants to go through a very little door, and then everybody wanted out, and then we had a huge correction starting very, very short amount of time. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say here, that it's not always to say timing wise when things will escalate. I don't think that things have escalated yet. Okay, there is still kind of the hope that everything will go back to normal until it doesn't. Okay, so same we have here. So the target zone, the neckline, the major neckline here is 6,416. We have this here indicated that we will at first go there, and if this breaks, then we will have momentum build up, and then we will go to 6,000 and probably even further down. Okay, that's kind of the game plan what I have. There's also something what kind of supports my decision here, or my analysis here. And one second, there was a Reuters article a couple of days ago about OpenAI, okay, and that they would kind of promise or sweetens, not really sure if it's sweet or whatever. OpenAI sweetens private equity pitch with basically a 17.5 return to attract private equity firms. Okay, because in order to turf war with Anthropic. Okay, and I mean, in the end, how this deal is structured, I'm not experienced enough for that. The only thing what I do know, and this is basically common 101, 1, 2, 3, ABC. If somebody promises you an annual return of 17.5%, it's pure desperation. Okay, if somebody promises you 17.5% and says, hey, this is the return, what you get automatically, plus upside, obviously, because private equity firms are not stupid. I think there is pure desperation. This is my thinking here. Probably I'm missing something, but this is the taste what I have, that there is now pure desperation happening in this AI world. And because of that, we I think that we have seen the top. And I think that we are overextended to a maximum, and I think that we will go into a bigger consolidation, which will end in panic. Okay, and we are by far not in the we have not started that, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. Overall, opinion and trading is two different things. I trade what I see, and I'm not basically having my intuition and my thinking really impact that. But what I do is I'm not a buyer of stocks right now. Okay, I'm basically I'm saving every month a little bit into, let's say, some ETFs, but I'm not buying big time. Okay, I'm not doing this. I think it will become way cheaper. When we talk about crypto, Bitcoin came back, and we are here relatively now under a zone or in a zone where it matters. Okay, can we hold or not? Right now, we saw reaction initially from the level what I indicated here. We are under pressure, and Ethereum opened a little bit position yesterday at 2080 when we came back, but we are here under pressure, right? And this is where it has to hold this $19, 1920, 1940 level. I will start buying again and adding to the position. But we can see there's pressure building up on the crypto space, meaning the markets become more fragile as well. Risk off is it often said, okay? And then we can look at other coins as well, Chainlink, AVAX, whatever, HBAR, it's the same pattern, okay? So right now, I still hold some crypto, obviously Bitcoin. I'm still hedged in Bitcoin, at least for a part of the position. And in the end, we need to see what will happen there. It doesn't looks let's say it looks like a little bit we could go down there, and then we have to see what will happen. I mean, I cannot predict. Bitcoin sadly looks that we have difficulties lifting going higher, sadly. All right, guys, so that's the update for today. My goal today honestly is very simple. I just want to get a few more bucks into my accounts. Today is the 27th of the month, so I have basically three more trading days to get paid. I will trade lighter today because I'm kind of tired, but I will give you an update on the monthly returns or what I made this month on the weekend. And yeah, that's all what I can tell you right now. Potentially, when we talk about the Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq for me is in reality the most important index, we can see that we find still a little bit support here. So the 720, 23,720, 730. This is the next real zone of support. And if this zone does not hold, then we run into more issues. So, and we are right now into that zone. Okay, so when we look at that, we are more or less very, very close to this. If this doesn't hold, we will go one step lower, 23,500. And then if this breaks, I think that momentum will kick into the downside. So short-term day trading, I would be careful on the long side. And even if you're not really sure, just take A+ setups or don't trade at all, because there's always another day. Wishing you all the best. Have a beautiful Friday and trade safely.